This is bad. Forgive me. Okay.
That was one of Chef AJ's appearances on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. It was 1987 and she weighed almost 200 pounds. A professional comedian who was overweight to obese her whole life, Chef AJ seemed like the most unlikely person to transform into this at age 52. Chef AJ is a culinary instructor, speaker, and author of multiple weight loss books.
You know, they say that life is uncertain, so that we should eat dessert first.
She runs a YouTube show called Chef AJ Live, which has aired at least once daily since March 2020. And she's vegan. You might think I'll say that going vegan is what made Chef AJ lose weight. However, Chef AJ went vegan at age 17. Her long-term weight loss began at age 52, a time when many women struggle to shed pounds. Curious to find out more about her transformation, we interviewed her right in her house. So, what's the secret?
The secret is...
This was after filming 100-year-old Dr. John Scharfenberg's TEDx talk at one of her potlucks.
Now let me tell you the secret.
As usual, we encountered a lot more than we expected.
Oh my gosh.
What's going on here?
Chef AJ has a dessert book called Sweet Indulgence coming out in August. And oh, did we indulge. You'll see her kitchen, studio, and the many rainbow paintings that adorn her house. Chef AJ says her favorite color is rainbow. And she's gone into detail on the many hardships she's faced through life, on the Rich Roll show, and in a talk she's given called From Fat Vegan to Skinny Bitch.
Because I had presented here twice before, and both times I did a lively culinary demo. This is actually the coat that I wore. And you can see it doesn't fit me anymore.
Yes, she has a great sense of humor about her obstacles. And I can't help but think that it takes the rain to produce a rainbow.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Charles. Hi, Bailey. Wow. Wait, am I allowed to say what age you just turned?
Yeah, well, 2 days ago, 64.
What? You keep getting all these birthday gifts? Like
Yeah,
what?
you know, I mean, look at all the flowers so far.
Wow.
You have very talented friends,
Wow.
Chef
I
AJ.
You
do.
do.
Very creative.
And they like dogs.
I would hope so.
I know somebody else who likes dogs too.
I love dogs. I think that's maybe why I became vegan, because a veterinarian once said to me, "You love your dog so much, how could you eat other animals?"
And literally, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
But I wish I knew about processed food, because I ate a lot of that growing up until I was like 52. And that's why I was like almost 200 pounds as a vegan.
Sweet.
Amazing.
Oceanside, California.
That book hasn't come out yet.
It's an advanced reader copy. This is what it will look like. It's my first hardback book. It's my first book that opens
Wow.
Somebody hired a really good
photographer, and she's vegan. Hannah Kaminsky. Actually, everybody's vegan. The co-writer, the publisher, and the book designer. So it's totally a vegan book, actually. So
Wow, it's Sweet Indulgence.
yeah, I have a dessert in the freezer I could give you.
What are you doing to us?
Oh my God.
So tell us about it.
Cake, and it's basically a raw vegan blackberry cheesecake, and it's just cashew butter, blackberries, dates. The crust is just almonds and dates, a little low-fat coconut sprinkled on top. It's always better to put.
Well, you're right. It's always better to put lots of it on there.
This was supposed to be my birthday cake, but then what
Whoa.
happened is everybody got so.
Oh my gosh.
What's going on here?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, this is the size of my face. Like,
It's the size of my stomach.
I would like a little taste.
Yeah, I'll get a knife. Yeah.
Thank you.
we'll see how little it stays.
I don't use any kind of refined sugar. Sometimes a little date syrup, but mostly I use whole dates, and then things like nuts, and of course oats, seeds, and because I want Goldhamer to be able to endorse my book, and he's the one that said I should call the book Desserts That Won't Kill You, but I will write an ebook with that name. But the publisher didn't go for it. It's the beauty of desserts, and Dr. Barnard taught me this, is like, he said, lure the people in with desserts and then hit them over the head with the kale. Because, if somebody is a standard American diet eater, offering them a kale and quinoa salad is not necessarily, or tempeh is not necessarily your best first move. But you don't have to tell people these are vegan, because they taste like real desserts. They are real desserts, and they're actually healthy vegan desserts, because They don't. They're just made with the fruit, the whole fruit. Thank you. Yeah, that's Charles's favorite. Yeah, always eat the
Oh my God. No, there's not even sugar in this.
Well, I mean, some people consider dates sugar. I don't. I consider them fruit because they're from nature. Right. Fiber, water, vitamins, mineral, phytochemicals, antioxidants, micronutrients. Not even date syrup, just whole dates.
And the thing is, you don't use sofas. Can you describe what that means?
So I've been a friend and fan and patient even at True North of Dr. Goldhamer for many years. And he's the one that I first heard the word SOS free diet from, sugar, oil, salt free. And so when I was running my own programs and teaching health and weight loss programs, sugar, oil, salt, I thought people would understand what to eat, but they were still drinking alcohol and eating lots of flour products. And I said, Dr. Goldhamer, he goes, well, they should know that because alcohol and flour are also refined carbohydrates. I'm like, well, they don't know that. So I added the F and the A, sugar, oil, flour, alcohol, salt, which ironically smells sofas, because I always say, if you want to be healthy, get off the sofas, like literally. So I'm not perfect. Like people think I'm him. I'm not Dr. Goldhamer. I mean, I don't eat animal products or oil, but I mean, if salt is in something, I don't like. I mean, I would never have been able to travel like the last 12 years if I was that strict. Dr. Lisle talks about this, that your age largely is determined by your genetics, how long you live. Dr. Goldhamer is right, how well we live. But I can't imagine on the death certificate, said, she would have made it a little longer except for that little bit of pickled ginger on her sushi. If only she had avoided that, maybe she would have gotten another 6 months. Maybe.
Yeah, this is where the magic happens at least once a day.
At least once a day since March 20th, 2020. Right here, there's a screen. So,
look at that.
You know, my computer, my spin bike every day, 60 minutes.
Spin bike, 60 minutes on the spin bike.
Every morning, first thing, no rain or shine. I don't think I hardly ever miss.
On the spin bike.
I've got my my award right there from Vegan Hall of Fame. That's
Oh yeah.
I like that. And I'm getting one from PCRM next month called the Voice of Compassion Award from Dr. Neil Barnard.
Oh, really?
So,
And you place Bailey right up there by your Vegan Hall of Fame award.
Of course. Look at this.
That's a Goldhamer bobblehead.
The thing is it only says no.
It only says no.
It only says no.
no.
Yeah.
Nothing,
So
no,
is it
yes.
okay if I have a piece of cheese now and then? No. A drink of wine now and then? No. Yeah, that's Dr. Goldhamer.
Just like this magnet.
Yeah.
So Chef AJ, when people look at you, they think that you've been skinny all your life. They think that your family's skinny. They think you've never had problems with food.
That's funny.
And they have no idea that you've actually been overweight to obese.
Obese. Always obese,
Right.
actually. Yeah.
Up until your 50s.
Right.
That you're so addicted to food that when you were at your heaviest, which was about 200 pounds, you actually attempted suicide.
Right. I'm not sure so much it was for that, but that's absolutely true. Everything you're saying is true.
And when people see you now and learn about your past, they think, well, she must have had drugs or surgeries.
Right. Always get that.
Because you also had precancerous polyps, which went away.
Right. Without surgery. Yeah. It's funny how people just assume to know so much about me and my health history, no matter how open I am about it. No, I mean, I've had surgery. You know, I had my tonsils out, but I've never had cosmetic surgery or bariatric surgery or anything done, you know, no plastic surgery. I'd like to, but I'm so afraid of needles and doctors, you know. I went to a pedodontist till I was 40 years old when he kicked me out. So can you imagine me having any of those surgeries when I can't even go to the dentist?
Right. So what's the secret?
The secret is calorie density and a plant-based diet. And that is, to me, the secret. I learned it. I mean, that information has been out there. Dr. Dean Ornish, who we were talking about earlier, wrote a book about it in the 80s, Eat More, Weigh Less. Dr. McDougall wrote a book about it called McDougall Program of Maximum Weight Loss. And I probably had those books, but until Audible came out, I don't think I ever really read a book. But it wasn't until I went to the True North Health Center in 2011 and met Dr. Alan Goldhamer, Dr. Doug Lisle, where they basically kind of sat me down and really explained it to me in a way that I could understand. And once I was already vegan, but once I applied the principles of calorie density, it wasn't hard. And that was like 13 years ago. So that was really, that was the missing piece. And of course, a plant-based diet, you know, but I was not eating a healthy plant-based diet. I was eating a junk food vegan diet with Slurpees and Dr. Pepper and, you know, lots of rich vegan desserts. Just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy, right?
Right, because you were a junk food vegan.
Absolutely. I didn't eat any fruits and vegetables till I was 43 years old, you know? But, you know, all the foods that are the healthiest foods on the planet are the most calorically dilute foods and the most nutrient dense. And they're all plants: fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes. There's very few plant foods that are of a high caloric density. If they are, they have to be processed the heck out of, like to make sugar, flour, and oil. And nuts and seeds, which have a higher caloric density, at least for our ancestors, those were rare treats. They weren't getting 3-pound bags of salted and roasted nuts at Costco. You know, they were eating, they had to go through they had to open each one themselves. You know, that's why when people say, oh, coconut oil's so good, really? Like, who ever opened a coconut in human history? I went to culinary school, and I'm telling you, it's really hard to open a coconut.
Yeah, you're pretty tired by the end of it. You were so addicted to Coke Slurpees that you literally moved closer to a 7-Eleven. So you definitely.
Well, the thing is that was a lot of people drink coffee, and which I did, but then it just never agreed with me in my stomach. You know, it just didn't work for me. But I liked the caffeine sugar combination so much that I switched my addiction to Coke Slurpees because they were so refreshing, or so I thought. And up until I was 43, it's sad to think a 43-year-old woman is going to 7-Eleven for a fix every day. And some days I couldn't drive until I had my fix. So I figured, well, if I live near a 7-Eleven, then I can walk and get my Slurpee. So I found this place in Studio City, California, where I was literally walking distance to 2 7-Elevens. It was great, except when the Slurpee machine was broken and I would yell at the poor guy behind the counter,
Right.
Yeah, because it had to be a Coke Slurpee, because I didn't want just the sugar. I wanted the sugar and the caffeine. And I always thought, what would happen now? This was, I haven't had knowingly refined sugar since July 6, 2003, over 20 years. And I'm like, I wonder what it would taste like now. I don't think I would get addicted. I think it would probably taste very chemically to me, and sickly sweet, because my palate has changed so much that sometimes I'll eat fruit and I'm like, it's like so sweet.
That cake you served us was a good sweet.
Yeah, well, that birthday cake, I mean, that was a really rich raw vegan cake, and that was delicious. But that's calorically dense. That's why the pieces were cut like about the size of a postage stamp, as it should be, if you can do that. But a lot of people can't. Like if you go, like when I was in Asia, in Japan, like their desserts were not as sweet as they are in the United States, and the serving size was appropriate. Not like when you go to like these restaurants like TGI Fridays and like you get a slab that could feed like an entire family, right?
And that's the extra small.
Right, exactly. Yeah, as portion sizes increased, so did our size.
Mm-hmm. And you also said that your first green things that you ate were green Skittles.
Yeah. Well, my husband used to joke that my wife is the only vegetarian that doesn't eat fruits and vegetables. She thinks Skittles are a fruit. And so, yeah, green M&Ms too. Oh, I used to eat green Tootsie Pops. I don't know if they make lime anymore. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how that happened, to be honest. I mean, looking back, it seems bizarre and absurd that I could get away with it. But, my mom did make food. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there was real food, but any money I had from a job or an allowance, I would buy processed food, crap. And not so much chips or anything like that, but candy, And when I went to school, when I was 11 in junior high, at our student store, it was 5 cents for a candy bar. And my aunt would give me $1 to go to the cafeteria, and I could get like something that was actually food, but I would just buy candy, because I loved it so much. I still remember my favorite one. It's not made today. It was called the Triple Decker by Nestle, because it had 3 layers. It had dark chocolate, white chocolate, and milk chocolate. Oh my God, it was so good. Oh. So yeah, but I was a candy aficionado, so to speak. But yet I liked other things like banana now and laters too. I loved candy. Mm-hmm. I just did, Yeah.
And you said that you got away with it, but you didn't really.
No, I didn't get. Your body's, who was it, Dr.
Your
Clapper?
body's never not
looking. Your
looking.
body's never not looking. I didn't get away with it, But I think the fact that I became vegan so young, though, helped me not get away with not having like heart disease or diabetes, and those kind of things. I think that was helpful. Not having all the extra cholesterol circulating in my body or saturated fat, those kind of things.
Right, because at 17 you went vegan, but the polyps, like how did that happen?
Well, I'm guessing when you don't eat fiber and you don't poop, eventually they grow. And, a strong family history of colon cancer anyway. And, I didn't know that's why I was bleeding. And then what's funny is my fear of anesthesia and doctors have saved me so many times in my life from procedures that I either didn't want, that would have been useless, or that I didn't need. They couldn't remove them during the outpatient procedure, and they said you have to come have surgery, and I'm like, I'm not having surgery, like real surgery, like where they cut you open and everything like that. And I'm guessing that when you don't have fiber, you don't poop as well, I would poop, if I can say poop, like once a week, and that is like not normal, right? You should be going at least once a day, I would think. And so that's how they develop. But what's interesting is that when I changed my diet, I didn't know about True North back then, because if I did, I probably would have gone. I think this was before the internet. So I went to the Optimal Health Institute in
I think San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego, Lemon Grove, I think it's called. And I learned so much there about what causes disease, and just changing my diet to an unprocessed diet I didn't know about SOS or SOFAs free back then, but there was no sugar, oil, flour, alcohol, or salt in the OHI diet. It happened to be raw. Now, I don't know if I would have needed a 100% raw diet to heal, because I think you can heal with a clean diet that isn't raw, but I think raw food's important. But 6 months after just eating their diet, I went back for a repeat colonoscopy and I had no more polyps. And I didn't know I was going to ever be Chef AJ or a YouTuber. I would have documented this, because to me, this is like a miracle. But that's what happened to me, is just they were gone, so I never had to have them removed. So that was cool.
Yeah, and you said the surgeon kept poking you, trying to find them.
He's like, where is it? I have photos. You must have had these removed. And I'm like, no, I just changed my diet. He goes, well, that's impossible. That was over 20 years ago. So I'm very thankful that, the thing is I became vegan for ethical reasons, strictly. I wasn't concerned about my health. If I did, I wouldn't have smoked during college. The health was not modeled for me and my family, and it wasn't my goal in life. I just figured, you get the genetic lottery or you don't. My family's fat and sick. I'll just, lose my legs. It wasn't something I thought about. I admire people like you and other younger people today that are getting the message so much earlier, like Dr. Goldhamer did. Like, we went vegan pretty much the same age. But I went junk food vegan. He went healthy vegan. And we always joke, me and Dr. Lisle, that he's going to probably outlive us both, because he never has that occasional piece of carrot cake like we had today, even though it was, he would never do that. So yeah, it was interesting. But when I learned about health, it was like, wow, so a vegan diet not only can save all the animals from suffering, which is why I did it, but you can have health too. You can actually improve the health you have, reverse many diseases. And then later on, the environment was like coming to be a thing for some of the younger people. It's like to me, it makes so much sense. And why wouldn't everybody do it? But I guess that's what Dr. Lisle calls the egocentric bias, when we think, well, our position is right, so everyone else should think that. But there's not very many vegans in the world, and there's even fewer that eat an unprocessed. They all live at True North. The ones that eat like that.
Yeah,
it's really not bad if you can do it. It's delicious. It's just to get the people. It's not accessible the way junk food is. Like, can you imagine like a True North drive-through? Like, that would be amazing. We had a vegan drive-through here, not healthy vegan food, but even that closed. So, yeah, what are you gonna do? Luckily, I know how to cook, so I'm good.
Very well.
My food's delicious, and I've served it to regular people.
Mm-hmm. And can they tell it's vegan?
And not the desserts, for sure. I think when I was teaching, like at the Braille Institute, there's certain things that people are not as familiar with, like tofu and tempeh, and they didn't like that as much. But other things, like lasagna, like things that, familiar foods, any kind of Mexican food, burrito, no, they can't tell,
Yeah. And what do you think about the statement, everything in moderation?
Well, I think if you're not an addict, that works, but I think most people are to something, and I don't see it practiced in the world. I think it's a beautiful concept if you can do it. And there's people like Dr. Doug Lisle and my husband Charles that they could totally do that. Not that they drink alcohol, but they could drink maybe once a couple times a year, or have a rich dessert and get right back on. I don't see that happen a lot with people.
Mm-hmm. Charles, I think I've heard you mention that he too, when changing his diet, had some his spine tumor that went away.
It wasn't like a tumor. I think it was called a lipoma. It was a fatty tumor that was about half the size of a golf ball, right near his spine. And, it wasn't serious. They weren't going to remove it. A dermatologist diagnosed it. And when he was vegan already, but when we went oil-free, which was 2008, after hearing Dr. Esselstyn speak at a conference, about 7 months later, that thing almost disappeared. It was just barely imperceptible. And I'm thinking, gosh, if that can take care of
a benign fatty tumor. Imagine like what eating healthy could do to maybe real tumors, and Dr. Goldhamer knows this to be true. You've seen some of his research, what really happens to tumors when you eat a healthy diet and or water fast. So you got to eat healthier. Okay.
Bailey is just the best. Growing up, you were pretty adverse circumstances. You mentioned you had a father who was quite violent. Yeah. He beat your dog Snoopy.
Oh my God, that's probably why I became vegan at the end of the day. I didn't make the connection, but yeah, he, in his defense, not that this is defensible, he was kicked in the head by a horse. He had like a big gash here, and I'm sure that made his behavior not appropriate. But when I talked to my grandmother, she said, he was always an SOB anyway, but I don't know for sure. But I think that made him more of what he was. So yeah, that was tough. So I try to be the protector of all animals now.
And you've helped people for decades become healthier eaters.
Yeah, I mean, really only since I made my healthy transition, which was like 2003. That was 21 years ago. But even before that, I was always into cooking and teaching recipes. And I love to do that. I love teaching people how to cook because I think it's a really useful skill to have. And I think that as wonderful as the science is, if you don't have the practical, unless you want to hire a chef or a food delivery service, it's a good skill to have.
Right. And you yourself, like lunch, you have the same thing, which is...
I'm lazy. And it's funny because I guess I'm not as much of a novelty seeker as a lot of people. So it's not that I don't enjoy new things, but just like who was it? Was it Albert Einstein or somebody that wore the same thing every day? Like what I love about being a chef. Yeah, Steve Jobs. I love being a chef because I wore the same. It was so, I didn't have to look in my closet. Now that I do a daily show, I'm like, did I wear this shirt? Like I loved having a uniform. Or when I was a respiratory therapist, I loved having a uniform. And because I'm busy, it's just easier to eat the same thing every day. It's not that if something else was offered, I'd eat it. It's not like I have to have a hand of yam and broccoli. And sometimes I mix it up a bit. Sometimes it's a Japanese sweet potato. Sometimes I air fry it instead. Sometimes it's Brussels sprouts. But I eat it because I like it. But I was thinking back to what I used to eat, and I mean, I never varied that. Whatever I ate, it was always a Coke Slurpee with 8 pumps of vanilla syrup. It wasn't like I really had a lot of variety. I know that's supposed to be good for your microbiome and stuff, but I change my dinner up every day, so don't worry, I'm getting all the nutrients I need. I like to keep it simple though. And the more people I interview, Michelle, the more I feel that that's what they say too. They're not eating 30 different breakfasts, 30 different lunches, 30 different dinners. And that's one way to make it easier for people. And just batch cooking is the other thing. When you came over and I showed you, I got like whole cakes in my freezer. I can just pull out butternut bisque. I can pull out tostadas. I can pull out sweet potato burgers. I think that's a good way to be, regardless of your diet, because it's who has time to I guess maybe some people do, but to cook a meal from scratch every single day.
So I understand batch cooking, how convenient it is. It's so good. At the same time, you have the quote, if it's in your house, it's in your mouth.
Right.
Like, if I was in your house, your fridge would be empty by now. Because
you know what the thing is the stuff that's hyper palatable is, well, first of all, it's on the lower shelf, and I can't eat chocolate without getting a migraine, so that's fine. But there's really nothing that's going to tempt me. Somebody just gave me a rock that said that today. If it's in your house, it's in your mouth. But I love having a full fridge, a full pantry, a full freezer, if at all possible, and I always make sure that I make the next batch before the last. Like if I'm at my last burger, I'm making another batch. And I teach at the McDougall program, the cooking segment, and I always say, I always do the recipes that are easy to batch cook, because you eat some, freeze some, refrigerate some, give some to a neighbor if possible.
Some critics say that the taste of broccoli and Hannah Yam is never going to beat out the Coke Slurpee. It's
probably not if you're having a Coke Slurpee. That's the thing. I think the hardest part is sometimes for people the transition or the detox. That's why True North is such a great place for people, because it's like rehab basically. Yeah, it will never beat it out until you stop abusing the drug you were abusing. And that's why I feel like, people say, oh, you're so perfect. It's not that I'm perfect. It's just that I learned this actually from Goldhamer in a way, Dr. Goldhamer's son. I remember once we were doing cooking demos during the holiday extravaganza. And Dr. Goldhamer's not a fan of eating between meals. And so we made this food, and it was completely compliant because there was like a little muffin made with pumpkin or banana. And it was like 3:00 between lunch and dinner. I said, would you like one? And he kind of looked at it, and I go, no, you can have it. It's just, he goes, nah, because then I'm not going to be hungry for my dinner, you know? And it was like, wow, what a concept. Like most people would eat that, even though it wasn't hyper palatable, whether they were hungry or not. And the reason I don't like to, it's not like I'm this superhuman being, but one of the reasons I don't like going off plan or whatever that means, not that I've ever like relapsed, is that I want to enjoy my food. And I love my food so much that when every now and then, like I'll be in LA and I'll get those nachos at Sun Cafe that are so delicious and so high in fat and salt, you know, then my food is like the next, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like the feeling of enjoying my whole natural food that's unadulterated, which Dr. Lisle says we are designed to do that, you know. But when you start putting all that junk food vegan, it's like, oh, then it's like, oh. Then I think about it all the time too. Like that piece of carrot cake, I'll be thinking about that for the next 30 days. But I'm so glad I don't have it because we all ate it, right?
Yeah, though I'd say your cake was just as good.
Yeah,
just
well, thank you. Maybe it's because somebody else made it. But Hannah yams are, I think even people that don't necessarily eat this way, if you've ever tried a Hannah yam or a white sweet potato, those are pretty good. And broccoli, you know, it's funny because I was just at a testing for a conference we were doing, and they accidentally, the broccoli, it was supposed to be steamed, but I took 4 florets that had oil and salt, and I was told it was an SOS for meal. I mean, I'm like, God, this is delicious. They go, oh, you got the one with the oil and salt. I'm like, oh.
Oh, no, you didn't say that.
And I said, oh, well, now I see why people like this. And then I ate the steamed broccoli, and it was like, oh, this is terrible. Because I had just eaten 4 florets with oil and salt. But if I hadn't eaten that, my steamed broccoli, it's the neuroadaptation is a real thing, and it's hard for people. And I think the longer they've eaten a junk food diet, whether it's plant-based or not, the harder it is. So you have to be motivated. And it's hard because I always think, I have Dr. Goldhamer in my hand all the time. We live in a world designed to make us fat, sick, and miserable. And most people don't have the support of their community, whether it's friends, family, neighbors. And so they're always, imagine like if you went to rehab for, some kind of alcohol or drug addiction and you got clean, but everywhere you went, there was cocaine or alcohol. It'd be really hard. Well, luckily there's most places, at least that I go to, don't have those 2 substances, but there's food everywhere. And it's hyper palatable food. It's not just at Costco, the samples, but it's at Petco. Like not samples, but like why are they selling M&Ms at Petco and at the hardware store? It's everywhere. You almost have to be superhuman to stay out of the pleasure trap.
Yeah, and I think Dr. Goldhamer said that food is the only socially acceptable drug. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it was just so interesting when I went to college. Like I remember high school, junior high, elementary school. Like you couldn't chew. Like if you had food at your desk, you're in trouble. But like at college, and I went to college a long time ago. Like people are like eating pizza and Coke, and I'm like, this is really weird. And in our country, you go meaning the United States, any kind of meeting, any kind of soccer game, there's like donuts or something. And I've had a few clients that live in other countries like France and England. They go, there's no donut. There's like when we're working, there's no food is at lunchtime. It's not at our desk. It's not. It's very different. I haven't been a lot of places in the world, but we seem to be very food motivated in this country to eat all the time and the wrong food.
And that's why I also really like your quote that when bland tastes grand, everything tastes amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's why sometimes the only way for people to achieve that is to do a water fast. I remember I finally, after going to True North for like 13 times, one time as a patient in 2011, the rest is work, I finally did my first water fast, and I only made it 4 days. But I got to tell you, like, I wasn't even in the pleasure trap, but like the first thing you eat afterwards, I remember it was like watermelon chunks, and it's like you thought you died and went to heaven. And then the next thing is steamed zucchini, and it was like a hot fudge sundae. And then when I finally got a little bit of starch, it was a soup made of Yukon Gold potatoes and zucchini, and Chef Bravo taught me how to make it, and he came on my YouTube channel, make it. I literally eat that every day now, and there's nothing in it. There's like no onion. It's like, so I love that feeling of having those kind of foods taste good, but again, to other people, they think what I do or what we do is austere and draconian and unsustainable. And I guess it just depends what your goals are, because if it was impossible, there wouldn't be so many people I personally know that do it,
Yeah, and you've interviewed literally over 1,900 people at this point.
Absolutely. And
what are some of the most incredible stories you can think of?
Oh my gosh. I'm always inspired by the people that are close to 100 or more, like Dr. John Scharfenberg, Dr. Gladys McCreary, who's 102, Elaine Lillane, who's 98, because I feel like
they're just really inspirational, and we can learn so much from their stories. And even though they may not have been 100% vegan or SOS free, they still, their attitude and their zest for life, because I used to be an activity director at a retirement home in my 40s, and it's almost like people go there to die, you know, and they don't move their body, they don't eat healthy food. And then when you see people that are like 40 years older than the people that I worked with in these retirement homes, or 30 years older, it's really inspiring, because life doesn't have to end at 55, you know. I mean, for Dr. Scharfenberg, his life has pretty much started again at 99. So I really do enjoy them. And I also like any kind of inspiring story. So whether it's a weight loss story that of somebody, especially that lost a lot of weight, because that's really difficult to keep it off. You know, anybody that maybe had cancer that recovered from cancer. And I remember one story that sticks with me, and I'll never forget, is Sarah Taylor. She was a vegan author that had brain cancer, and the way she chose to live her life with a terminal diagnosis was really, really inspiring. And it's fun meeting new people too, that you know, like I remember this one girl, Tiffany, she was submitted by her publisher, and like she wrote a book, and she was basically blind, and she was designing video games and writing, you know. So there's a lot of, you know, there's a few people in the vegan world that are very popular, always get views, you know, the big 3 or 5, but I kind of like the little stories that people don't know about, because I always say, you know, this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world I think you should know about. So it's like my mission in life is to interview every vegan that wants to be interviewed before I die on Chef AJ Live. Trouble is, they don't want to come back for a second show, and it's like, unless I want to just work, like I've done 6 shows a day before for 10 days, it pretty much exhausted me. I don't want to do that anymore, but I like to give as many people as a chance, because, you know, people gave me a chance, like Dr. McDougall. Nobody knew who I was, so you never know. Like Dr. John Scharfenberg got his start on Chef AJ Live. So it's fun. It's fun to meet people that way.
Yeah. Your energy, as we know, is just through the roof.
I know, and I'm tired today too, because we had a potluck.
But you're still like,
I know, I am like and it's funny because I don't run on caffeine and sugar anymore. Caffeine and sugar give you a false high. And so while I might have had the same personality on them, you constantly have to remedicate. Like, so one Coke Slurpee might have been okay, but then a few hours later, I had to crash, and then I had to go back, and I would get a Dr. Pepper, but big gulp, 48 ounce, you know, and I would constantly have to keep having caffeine and sugar to function, and lots of dessert, lots of vegan dessert. So I remember I knew every bakery, like I was on first name basis with every, that was like that was my drug, and all the bakery chefs, those were my pushers, you know, but I was a good customer.
So do you think you have more energy now than when you were on processed food? Because a lot of people think, oh, I need to have it more processed. I have enough energy to keep
I think I have more energy. I feel better. And I still sleep, you know, I sleep a good 7-8 hours a night. I think I have a lot of energy, actually. You know, I think what you eat does make a difference on how you feel. And, you know, the thing is until people start to feel better, they didn't know, I hear this a lot, that I didn't know how bad I felt until I started to feel better. I hear that over and over again, because you kind of like neuroadapt to the way you feel. It's sort of like if you have a car and you never wash it, it's like, yeah, it's all right. And then you want, like, wow, you're like that car. Just, you need to get to the car wash, and you need to eat whole natural food.
Yeah, you need to put in the right fuel.
Yeah, it makes it, but it's a hard sell, you know. It's easier for Dr. Goldhamer because his people are so sick, they'll literally do anything. But a lot of times people are only a little sick or a little overweight, or they haven't yet felt the consequence of their disease until they get it's like, I know so many smokers that didn't quit until they were diagnosed with lung cancer. And it's the same thing with people when they are diagnosed. But then the longer you wait, the harder it is, I think, to make a change. That's why it's interesting what's going to happen to the world, because people are getting so sick. And of course, we have a cure now. It's Ozempic. You know?
Oh my, sorry. But you were on fen-phen back then.
Yeah, and it's interesting because fen-phen, this was prescribed by a doctor. It wasn't like an illegal drug. It was a pill. It wasn't expensive that I remember. Insurance covered it, and it worked beautifully until you stopped taking it. And the only reason I stopped taking it was because one day we all got a letter in our mailbox from the FDA saying this causes a hole in your heart and your lung, and you are ordered to get an immediate echocardiogram. So it's like once the supply was cut off, the weight came right back. It just made you not hungry. I don't remember it having the kind of terrible side effects that Ozempic, I've never tried Ozempic, but from what I hear from people, like it didn't make you nauseous, it didn't stop your stomach from functioning. It just basically made it so that you weren't hungry. But if you eat in accordance with the principles of calorie density, a whole natural food diet, at least without oil, you get the same feeling, but you get to eat so much food. That's the cool thing about it, is I get to eat a lot of food now, like more. I mean, I like to be able to, I don't like the little skimpy portions like they serve at the spas that I speak at, a half a cup of rice. For me, a serving of rice is 2 to 3 cups. And people are like, you're going to eat all that? Yeah. And then I love this all-you-can-eat buffet that's a whole food plant-based diet, at least oil-free, in accordance with calorie density. I love it because so many people have to weigh and measure their food. And that too, if you can't do it forever, it's not going to work. Counting calories, counting carbs, counting points. It's such a great thing if people will do it. But it's sometimes, I think, a really hard sell because that pleasure trap pulls them in.
How do you deal with people who judge you? Because when you were overweight, they judged you. Now they judge.
Oh, now I'm anorexic. I'm too thin. I don't look good. I'm a bad spokesperson for the vegan diet. What can you do? You know, I do what Dr. Lisle says is I just don't respond. Or actually, I don't even look. I don't look at the comments anymore because people can be so mean. What are you going to do? You can't win, really, right?
Mm-hmm. Another criticism of Chef AJ is that people say she has a hunched back. They say, oh, it's because she's vegan. But actually, it's because she was in a serious accident at age 22, which broke 2 of her vertebrae. They remain permanently crushed. And you said you have this knee pain that if you get heavier, your knee hurts.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, this is the weight my body found on its own. And if people actually spent time with me and watched me eat, they would know I'm not restricting in any way other than restricting the foods that I'm not going to eat as a vegan. I mean, of course, yes, I restrict animal products and oils, but other than that, and I limit the amount. I don't eat a ton of, I really don't eat nuts, but I don't eat a ton of seeds or avocado or things like that. But, you know, I think when people are mean like that, I think it says more about them than you. So, you know, I mean, it's not that it doesn't hurt my feelings, but I've learned to that's just the way it is, right? What are you going to do? I mean, what do celebrities do? Like Johnny Depp, he doesn't see his own movies and then he doesn't have to, you know, if you have an answer for that, I'd love to know, but you know, hopefully there's karma. That's what I keep hoping.
Well, you have a lot of karma because of the number of lives you've touched.
Well, yeah, and then I always think about the number of lives I saved, like just accruing it, just all the animals that didn't get eaten because of me. So I hope that counts for something. But yeah, that's a mystery to me. Like, I understand why people eat processed food because I'm not going to lie, I think it's tasty. I mean, people say, oh, it tastes terrible. I'm like, really? Which processed food did you eat? You never had a Cinnabon? I mean, it tastes pretty good, but I never understood the gustatory pleasure involved with animal products because, I mean, you know, especially things like raw fish. Like, what's good about sushi is the vinegar and the rice and the wasabi and the soy sauce and the pickled ginger. Like, do people just eat it without that? Or, you know, do people just eat a piece of boiled meat? No, it's always the flavor that comes from plants, the barbecue sauce, you know, it's just weird to me that people like to eat animals. That's bizarre to me.
It is bizarre.
Yeah.
And I also think you're pretty bizarre because of your work ethic. Like, it's just...
I mean, listen, I take time for rest and for fun and stuff, but I'm kind of new up here, so I'm just kind of building my social circle. And, you know, I know how to, I do know self-care though. I take time, I get regular massages, regular manicures. I mean, I do a lot of self-care. And when I'm tired, I rest. You know, unlike my husband who just doesn't moderate his self-care as good as I do. But I do, like in the middle of the day, if I'm tired, I'll go outside, sit on a zero gravity chair with Bailey and fall asleep for like 20 minutes and stuff like that. But I do like to work because, I mean, what else am I supposed to do? I mean, I don't like to travel, so I guess I could take classes. I do take a lot of classes. I do a lot of stand-up, a lot of improv, and I love to get into an art class. And I'd love to start teaching it in like hands-on cooking but there's no culinary schools up here. So
you could start one.
I was talking to somebody about that today. Actually, it's like, we got to get a culinary school up here.
Yeah, I want to learn how to make those cakes.
It would be so fun. It is fun because when you teach, you know, when you're teaching people weight loss, it can be rewarding, but the recidivism rate is so high, and then people feel so bad about themselves if they beat themselves up, if they slip or slide, and then you feel bad and they feel bad. But with making food, it's like, you know, even if you make a mistake, you get to eat it. So that's pretty cool.
How do you stay motivated to keep repeating the same message, calorie density, vegan, for decades? Is it because you know every life saved counts?
Well, how do I get motivated? I don't know. I guess it's just something I do. I mean, that's a good question. I don't know.
Is it because you enjoy the process so much, like interviewing people?
I love interviewing people, and I love teaching people how to cook because I know that that is going to make them so healthy and so happy. And actually teaching cooking is fun. Teaching calorie densities, I mean, I guess it's kind of fun, but it's just more science, and they can get that from a book. But I think, when you teach somebody to cook, it can really open doors for them being happy and healthy. And it's actually fun. A lot of people say, I hate to cook. And I'm thinking, well, have you ever really done it? Because I find it there are different types of cooking, but I find it very meditative, just chopping vegetables. Actually, I'm lazy. Sometimes I buy them already chopped. But I love art. And to me, cooking is just, you make something,
You have this pizzazz about you. Just even growing up, you talk wanting to become a professional comedian. You're able to light up rooms.
Yeah.
You're on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, The Late Show with...
yeah, that was fun. I did want, not so much a comedian. I wanted to be, this is funny, of my aspirations. I wanted to be a second Banana. I never thought, because I was overweight, my agent said, oh, you can never be a lead actress. But I always thought, and again, meaning no disrespect, I love Joe Pesci, but I didn't want to have to carry the whole production. I thought, God, if I could be on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, be Rhoda Morgenstern, that would be so fun, the funny best friend, and that's what I really wanted. But I do love comedy, and that's the other reason I want to get back to teaching cooking, is because when I teach cooking, I don't just teach cooking. I really do a lot of comedy in my class, and I do song parodies. I kind of it's more like a cabaret. It's what I used to do in LA, and I would love to get back to that, because I feel like when you can make somebody laugh, they learn better of what you're teaching them. And so, but I do really love comedy, and it wasn't that I wanted to be a chef. I did want to be a comedian, and I still do, kind of, but.
And honestly, you could still be one. You still are one on your show.
I just don't know, I don't know. Don't look for the HBO special anytime soon. But I do enjoy it, because it's stuff that's fun. I love fun. And so maybe what motivates me is fun, because I always try to make everything fun. I try to bring the fun to whatever I do, even if it's boring and mundane. I try to look, obviously not in a funeral so much, but actually the first 3 letters of funeral is fun. So but I do try to make things as fun as possible, because otherwise life is just so drab.
Yeah, and I have to say, I know a lot of people with hardship in their life, but your life especially has just accident after accident after dark turn, and I find it so remarkable that you use humor in such a way to...
That's they say that tragedy plus time equals comedy. So even when my baby died and all the miscarriages, I was able to turn that into a comedy set. Not the day after, not the year after, but I think if you don't have a sense of humor in life, you have nothing. And that's and that's what attracts me to other people too. When I go to movies, which isn't often, I want to laugh. Life is so serious already, so let's laugh. It's funny, because I'm one of the few people that has made Dr. Alan Goldhamer laugh. I'm sure you know that he's like this, and a couple of times you've seen the lip go up like this when I've told a joke. He's trying not to laugh, but you can kind of see oh yeah, that was funny.
That's how I know you're a professional comedian.
Yeah. If you could, that's a test of whether or not something's funny. If it can make Dr. Goldhamer laugh. Yeah, he's great. I do love him though. I tease him a lot.
And you come up with all these catchy sayings. Even for your cookbook, I heard you mention desserts is stressed spelled backwards.
I had a magnet that said that. Dr. Goldhamer wanted me to call my book Desserts That Won't Kill You, but the publisher didn't like that title. But yep.
So you got the book, Sweet Indulgence, coming out.
Yeah.
Do you have any other things coming up? There's your conference.
Well, we try to do at least one a year. As we call them, Live Your Best Life Conference, with the local doctors, but now we're kind of branching out to get doctors that are not just in the Sacramento area. I do travel to Mexico quite a bit to teach at Rancho La Puerta, which is nice because I'm not in front of a vegan audience. Not that I don't love vegan audiences, but I feel sometimes we're just preaching to the choir. So it's fun when you get these jobs where it's not vegan. And then I get to do my calorie density lecture, and they're like, oh. And then at the end they'll go, oh, well, is this vegan? I'm going, well, when you think about it, these foods are. I can do it, I don't have to push the vegan agenda. Because I found, as a person that's been vegan for almost 47 years, being pushy, it does not enroll people in veganism. And I'm sorry to say this, but looking your best, and when you lose weight, that has gotten more people interested, for me, than just doing an animal rights type of agenda. or the health equation, that's helped people too. But most people that I know, especially women in my age range, they want to be trimmer. And the vegan diet, when done in accordance with principles of calorie density, I've never seen it not work. And either has Dr. Goldhamer, he said. So that's kind of cool.
So I noticed in your house, there's like white walls, but splashes of rainbow color everywhere.
Yeah, thank you. Well, okay, so this was a spec house, which I love, but I would never have had white walls. I would have done like a very faint gray. But my favorite color is rainbow, and just like food, eat the rainbow. There's most of the artists from Leonid Afremov, I love color. I'm just not a khaki person or an army. I love to have color everywhere that I go. And a lot of the things are from Mexico, like the light switches or the light covers, and I just love color. I love a splash of color everywhere.
Like even in that TV, you're wearing a rainbow scarf.
Yeah.
It's very fitting.
I know. I just love color. What can I tell you? Beautiful, bright colors. It just makes me happy.
I asked my friends, like, what should I ask Chef AJ? They all love you. And they all had questions, but their biggest thing was they said they wanted to make sure that you knew how amazing you are, just how many lives you've touched.
Well, because you don't always know when you're virtual. Like, I mean, you that's why when we go to a potluck like we did today, and people come up to you like, oh, thank you, like you're a real person and you really watch my show. So it's really nice to hear, yeah.
I know they already gave you one Vegan Hall of Fame award, but that was before you started your show.
Right, exactly. Now I should get another. No, I'm just, I am getting the Voice of Compassion award from Dr. Neil Barnard, so that's super nice too. And I don't do this for awards because I don't know if there's even that many vegan awards to win, but I'm very appreciative of it. But could you say, okay, here, I can answer your question now. What motivates you? I'm looking at that Vegan Hall of Fame award every day. And now, sometimes it takes me a minute to my brain to catch up. Probably what motivates me is at the end of the day, I really want to save animals or have them suffer less. And doing what I do makes more people eat more plants. Because my office, I'm looking at that award every day, and I'm looking at my dog. So it's not like it's a hidden agenda, but I think that that's running in the background, that the more people that eat more plants, the less animals suffer. So I really think that that's probably, at the end of the day, if I have to answer that, that is what motivates me. It's so cruel the way animals are treated in our world, and that it's legal, and that it's so ridiculous. You don't need to eat meat.
Yep, you prove it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of channels out there that will basically say everything we say is incorrect, and oh well, we'll see what happens.
You're still making a huge difference. Thank you so much, Chef.
Oh, thank you. Oh,
I can't explain how amazing, just blown away we all are by you.
Eat plants, fit into your pants.
Thanks for letting us.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor.
So nice.
You're going to get a cake out of this.
I don't think we better take the cake. Or do you want the cake?
No, I'm good. Because the thing, again, it's gone. It would be disappeared.
Okay.
We do not want to offend Chef AJ. We better take that cake.
Oh,
Are you going to eat that whole thing?
good. Let me get a nice thing for you.